welcome back to the news right here. And our conversation centered around the former Vice President Atiku and top presidential contender of the ADC, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, describing that tribalism as the bane of national progress and a malignant disease that must be shunned at all costs by all, particularly the common masses. According to Vice President Atiku, the elite stands out as the most culpable culprit, fostering tribalism as a divisive gimmick to set one tribe against the other instead of seeing each other and everyone as one, united by one single indivisible nation. And according to him, the end point of these divisive antics is geared to achieving their political ambition by asking their fellow tribesmen not to vote for a particular political contestant for being so unfortunate to have hailed from another tribe rather than access him by his sterling qualities. Well, talking about this tonight with me is Barrister Chidi Ujoatumba, and he's a human rights lawyer and, of course, a social commentator. Good evening, Barrister Chidi, and welcome to Afia TV tonight.
Good evening, Amazing Grace, and thanks for having me.
Good, good. So what's your thought about this? Are you in alignment with Vice President Atiku? But first, I should ask, when did he suddenly realize that tribalism is a problem in Nigeria?
I don't know. I was going to ask you the same question, Amazing Grace. I was going to ask you the same question because, you know, everybody knows Atiku's, you know, political inclination when it comes to tribalism. Okay? I think in 2022, Atiku in Kaduna, this incident happened in Kaduna. Atiku openly told his followers not to vote an Igbo man or even a Yoruba person. You understand? That he is the only qualified candidate. You know, Atiku, when it was time for PDP to bring out a presidential candidate, even after the North have had their own 8 years, Atiku, being a member of PDP, never supported an Igbo man to clinch the PDP presidential ticket. You know, with his dollar and everything, he bought all of them over. And then both PDP and others, they failed woefully during the 2023 election. So I don't know why Atiku should just come out now and say that tribalism is not good for politics. He has been one of the chief pioneers of tribalism. That he married a Yoruba woman does not mean anything. Let's not bring marriage into this. The way you treat people during election, the kind of political utterances you make when you go to Northeast, when you go to North Central, and when you go to Northwest, the way you regard Igbo politicians, and the way you handle them goes a long way to show whether you are a tribalistic person or whether you are not a tribalistic person. Atiku realizing this by this time is too late, because tribalism has actually, you know, defeated the Nigerian politics. It has eaten into the red marrows of Nigerian politics. Where do we start? Where do we really start? During the 2023 general election, you can see how Igbos were treated in Lagos. You can see how they were stabbed, intimidated, and told not to vote for, not to come out on the day of election to exercise their constitutional rights. Everybody, the whole nation saw it. So what did they do? Nothing. They did not do anything. When a northerner is in power, he will make sure that all the ministers and all the ambassadors are northerners. When a southerner is in power, the same thing. Where do we go from here? Where do we really go from here? So I don't know whether Atiku, I was reading the news, is it Atiku that is saying this, or is it his special advisor or his aide that are saying it? Because I don't understand what has changed between a few years ago and today. I don't know what he intends to achieve with this declaration. I don't know.
Well, speaking about that, just yesterday, also on a very popular news channel, Bala Galadima, if I got his name correctly, was being interviewed. Galadima, Buba Galadima.
Buba Galadima.
Yes, and he said that, well, for speaking about the Igbos, and talking about the chances of maybe a Peter Obi's candidacy, and then he said, well, the Southeast may have to just go for the vice presidency. Why does it seem like the Northerners maybe do not really align with the Southeast presidency? And really, really surprising to see that Atiku is, coming up to say that tribalism should be shunned in Nigeria when we still have something called the Federal Character Commission. Do you think that commission should be scrapped, and in any way it could help the mindset of Nigerians?
We cannot scrap federal character. We cannot scrap federal character. Nigeria is a multicultural and multifaceted nation. You can't scrap federal character. Left to me, this issue of zoning should even be included in the constitution. We should amend the constitution and let zoning be included, because I don't like the situation whereby when zoning favors a particular region, when it's time for another region, the region that has been favored by that zoning will start discrediting zoning and start saying that it is unconstitutional. Meanwhile, they have benefited from the zoning. A presidency has been zoned to them. Some certain political key positions have already been zoned to them. So why wouldn't they allow it to circulate round and round and round? What they did to Igbos in PDP is nothing to be right about. Well, Buba Galadima can say that because of AGC. He's not speaking the mind of all the Northerners. People like El Rufai is so much in support of Obi's candidacy. Yes, we know that there is an unwritten code that since after the Biafran war that they should not allow any Igbo man to rule. But how is Nigeria, since they have not allowed an Igbo man to? How have Nigeria fared? What he said in the letter, in the lower part of his publication, needs to be, taken note of, because it is competency that determines leadership. It is not region. It is not tribalism. It is not tribe. It is competency. When we go back to our constitution, when we go back to the drawing board, we should know that, look, we cannot use presidency, a whole post of presidency, to settle a region. No. If you are not competent, if you don't have what it takes to handle that position, what are you going there to do? If we put an incompetent Yoruba man in that position, the whole Nigeria will suffer, including Igbo and Yoruba and Hausa. If we put an incompetent Igbo man as a president, the whole nation will suffer. So it is not about tribe. It is not about region. It's about Nigeria. Let me tell you this thing, amazing grace. We don't have a sense of national pride. Corruption, tribalism, sectionalism have made us not to have a sense of national pride. It is only when we go outside the shores of this country during sports that we can sing our national anthem, wave the Nigerian flag with patriotism, and we feel that nostalgic, and after it ends there. It ends there. How many judges in Nigeria have resigned because they were offered bribe to rig election? How many police IG have resigned because what the executive told them to do is an abuse of the fundamental right of a particular region? How many politicians have resigned because what they have been asked to do does not fall in line with their political mandate? This is where we are. There is no sense of national pride. So when you think that a particular region has the right to be in power, okay, look at the North. Can't you see the North? The North will be faring well when a presidency comes from the North. If you take away the presidency from them, immediately 8 years is over. Or if you swear in another president on May 29th, on May 30th, North will be crying of marginalization, that they have been marginalized. Meanwhile, another has been ruling the country for over 8 years. They did not fight security. They did not fight hunger. They did not fight marginalization. They would do nothing, only for them to wait for another 8 years for power to come back. Let me tell you something. Whether they like it or not, Igbos have come to stay, and we are an integral part of this nation. And the injustice that they are doing to the Igbos, it is written on their face. It is written on their face. There's no way you can tell me that you are not in support of tribalism, but you have made utterances and you have made decisions, you have made choices that shows that you are in support of tribalism. Where do we go from here? It's an organic matter, Amazing Grace. We have to revisit our constitution. Let me tell you, it's the ground norm. Look, America looked at the way their country is, and they enshrine certain things in the constitution. Okay, in such a way that those laws will protect you and protect your children even when you are not there. So the issue of tribalism is not something that politicians can take. Let me tell you, even before the independence, before 1960 independence, a Hausa man in 1949, a Hausa man was elected as the mayor of Enugu State. This Enugu State that me and you are staying. Another Hausa man was elected as a representative of the House of Chiefs in Onitsha. A Yoruba man was elected in 1949 to become the mayor of the city of Port Harcourt. What are you talking about? It is these current politicians that have jeopardized the interests of everybody in the name of Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. But what I keep on saying is that if these two major tribes of this country cannot come together to sit down and decide on how they will be ruled, the best thing for us to do is to divide the nation into three. Let the nation be divided into three. Let the North go their part. Let the South go. Let Yorubas go. And let Igbo, let the East go. Because for over how many years now, we have not been able to foster unity. We have not been able to come together to stay as a nation. We have, despite all that, we have not been able to come together to stay. So where do we go from here? How old is Nigeria right now? The best thing for us to do, if we cannot come together as a nation to solve this problem once and for all, through a constitutional amendment, I am advocating that Nigeria should be divided into three. Let there be a referendum and let the nation be divided so that everybody can grow in accordance with their own intelligence and in accordance with their own tribe and understanding. That's my position on this.
All right. We would have to stop here for tonight, but we keep advocating for unity as a country and hoping that our politicians do right by the people. Thank you so much for joining in tonight, Barrister Chidi.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Just before we go, here are the stories, reminder of the top stories.